Good morning, friends. It's a beautiful, almost crisp morning here in New Hampshire, and we're about to do our lives as we've been doing. Hi, I'm Jamie, the founder of the Holistic Spa Alliance, and Angela Golden from Golden Skin and Wellness is going to be joining me as well this morning. And we have a really fun, casual yet peels. Let me bring Angela in here. And good morning, Angela.
Morning.
I don't know about you, but I'm having a beautifully slow morning and I'm really loving it. I have the day off. We're going to do some fun fall stuff as a family, but um, again, these Monday mornings are also just such a nice way to start our weeks and have these conversations too. So, ready to see you.
I agree. Yes, a nice slower start for me this morning as well, but we're doing all of our Monday get our life together stuff today. We're not doing fun stuff. So,
Well, usually that is my Monday. It's usually like, yeah, you hit the ground running. But over in Maine, they do this a Freiburg Fair. It's called the Freiburg Fair, and it's a huge agricultural fair. So we're actually the kids are still young, so we let them play hooky, and we go over, and it's just a really fun day to like walk through all the barns. It's not as busy as the weekends, so yeah, we're totally taking advantage of some nice weather and the kids being in the situation that we can kind of let them play hooky.
that is, I don't, there's no age, like, there's no aging out of playing hooky for my kids. Like,
Okay. Oh, good to know. Because I'm thinking, okay, they're young, so we're not missing out on really too big of matters right now. But okay, I like to hear that, actually. Okay.
I mean, if COVID or pandemic taught us anything, it's that. Do we even need to go to school?
Oh my goodness, that's a whole conversation itself, right? My kids were preschool before actually all of that had like not even in preschool. So we were home anyway. So I didn't experience a lot of that, but I do have friends and family that did. And yeah, you're probably right.
It changed for sure.
Changed the
So,
course of a lot, yes. And definitely those silver linings in there, like these personal days and taking these times. It's okay to, take the days and enjoy family, make memories, or whatever you need, your own personal day. But
little fun fact about me, I actually didn't even go to second grade. Um, yep. My mom, yep. So she was homeschooling me, but that meant just not sending me to school for her. So we're like,
okay.
fine. I didn't even go for a whole year. So don't even worry about a few extra days.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so today's topic, everybody, is how to efficiently play hooky from school. Actually, on this, I thought it would be fitting this morning, and I know we did a brief text just to be on the same page, but we're going into that season of peels. It's peel season, so I thought exfoliation would be a really great topic as we're heading into these fall months, which is typically the time that people do get a little more aggressive with exfoliation. So I thought it would be really great just to share our points of view and kind of, for me at least, go through some of the different levels of exfoliation that I'm okay with and kind of what skin type it is and some of my reasonings behind it rather than just doing like full grade exfoliation peels on everybody that walks through. But where do you sit with exfoliation? I know within the deep you are really rooted, as am I, in a very different approach.
Um, I think that we share the same approach in the sense of it's really person to person
Hmm.
and so what moment in time their skin is in then. So I think we share that. I think that's kind of the basis for considering yourself a holistic practitioner, whether wherever you are on that spectrum of green. And I know that in conventional aesthetics, as it's taught, exfoliation is always part of the
Yeah.
facial, you know, and I think that's where holistic aesthetics really veers off from the conventional path because we really are tuning into the whole person and that specific person. So I will say I have not done a peel on myself or any of my clients in years. And I not to say that all peels are bad, but I have found that they're not really like necessary in my treatments. And I think that first of all, educating your clients so that they're not expecting anything when they walk in. You know, everyone says to me, whatever you think is best. And I love my clients so much for having that trust in me. It's huge. And I think that we have to take into consideration the it's Libra season, so the balance. So if they and this is something that I think only comes with experience in the treatment room too, but if their skin is at a point where whatever we choose to do in the treatment room could tip the scales one way or the other, I think we have to really be careful, really be mindful, and hold back because I think a lot of times that exfoliation is going to deliver like those wow results like right when they sit up from their treatment. So it's exciting for the practitioner and for the client to see that like ultimate glowy. But I think that I have seen when you aren't making the best choice, I have seen people who it kind of can push them towards breakouts or it can push them towards dryness. And when we're going into this season, everything I can do to maintain a really supple, healthy skin barrier going into this cold season in the Northeast, I think is what's most important for me.
Especially in the Northeast. So again, we have that similarity of being within the same state, not just region, where we have full seasons that are extreme in their weather patterns. And yeah, you noted though that wow moment. And I love that there are actually different ways to give that wow moment, and so instead of it just being a peel, like an acid peel. So if and when then you're choosing to exfoliate, how are you exfoliating? And then maybe we'll wrap into like finishing to give them still that wow moment.
Yes. My two favorite methods for exfoliation, well, I'd say three, but two main ones is that ultrasonic spatula.
Yep.
I feel so gentle. I don't know where that came from. That
No.
so the ultrasonic spatula is really wonderful. I feel like it. We've talked about it in our last one, and it just brings anything that is ready to go, ready to leave the pores, just easily brings it to the surface, and we can take care of it. So that's lovely. And then this is funny because I do consider myself deep green, but I also do practice thermoplaning. And in general, that's frowned upon in the deep green aesthetics world. But I feel,
See both sides of that coin, but I think it's the more, well, it's the most natural way outside of using a product. So, and again, case by case, and you're educated in it. And
and thank you for saying that. It that's the thing that first appealed to me when I first started doing dermaplane was that it was completely without chemical. And it
fun
also,
fact,
yeah.
sorry, you gave me my first dermaplane. I didn't know how I felt about it. You're like, let's just try it. I was like, do I need it? Am I hairy? Like that was my mindset a number of years back. Because that's more so what you saw people on social media doing. And I know I'm digressing here for a moment, but just how my skin felt after and how my products laid and absorbed, like I became a believer. So
Yeah.
I apologize though. Go
No, no,
ahead.
I'm glad. I don't think we're veering off at all. Like removing that peach fuzz or vellus hair,
Mhm.
a really fun side effect,
It is.
side
Yeah.
of, and I feel like we can control the depths of that with our own hand, and that's
Yeah.
something I love about it. And it does, the way I do it, we're just very gently like taking off that very uppermost layer. And then, like you said, anything we put on in the treatment or at home in those days following, I feel like it really gets pulled right into the skin. So
Yeah.
I do. But and also I think the question I get the most often about dermaplane is it going to make that vellus hair grow back thicker?
Always a question.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say it definitely would not be as popular
No,
as it is if that was the
that's
case.
true.
And strangely, one thing I have seen from a number of my clients who have regular dermaplane treatments is the hair seems to actually grow back less over time. There's no science behind that. That's not the way it should work, but in my personal experience, that has been what's happened.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
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 I have also since to go on to become certified in dermaplane. And then I went from, I don't know if this is the actual wording for it, but like the dry dermaplane to the oil dermaplane now. And now that's what I practice, which is it's even lighter of an exfoliation for the clients. So you can kind of pick and choose when to use it, do it dry, perform it dry, or perform it with an oil based on the type of skin in front of you as well. So I like that I have also now two different ways of executing that same modality for a nice exfoliation.
Yes, yes. What do you do? Oh, and I also love fruit enzymes for a really gentle
I was
exfoliation.
going to ask you if you get into the fruit enzymes as well. That's also my peak as well with exfoliation is a fruit enzyme, something that gives, it almost satisfies that little tingle, that little warmth feeling that sometimes particular clients are still looking for, even though we are working on educating them that it's not a no pain, no gain type of a situation coming from traditional aesthetic schools where you've got to feel it, you've got to feel the burn, you've got to feel the deep itch in order to get that experience. But I also sometimes, for my clients that want to feel a little something, I like to start with more of a mechanical exfoliation and then follow it up with a natural enzyme, something that also has no tingle. Like hibiscus is a really nice natural enzyme that has no acidic base to it. So it's like continuing that work on the skin and breaking down the bonds in between the dead, protein on the surface so that it can slough off. But sometimes I will layer it like that. So I'll start with a mechanical and then go in with something gentle. Or for my really either mature doesn't mean more, so I don't want to mislead and say mature skin definitely go higher. But sometimes my mature skin that hasn't been taken care of as much, I'll want maybe something more than a natural hibiscus. So anything with like that pineapple
Yeah.
base to it. Sometimes that'll give a little bit of like prickly feelings on the face, but it's still a very gentle in its aspect that it's not stripping the skin. But what it does do is it enhances that microcirculation, that nice flush sometimes into the pink rosiness. And so that's also that instant gratification. Your dermaplane is an instant gratification. But what I do like sometimes about bringing a little bit of that microcirculation is it becomes also this roadmap for the face too. I get to see where is the blood really flowing well and then where is it not. So when you have the skin that then turns maybe a little bit blotchy, even with something as gentle as, a more natural fruit enzyme, you can see like if they're not red at all on the forehead, what's the circulation going on up here? Is it a lack of circulation? Then you can really focus your massage techniques, maybe a little bit more cupping across if you get into the myofascial. It kind of also shows you where you need to address the skin. And then likewise, but on the opposite side of that coin, if they're really red, in the apples of their cheeks, around their nose, those are the areas that have already been perhaps compromised. They are a little more sensitive. They're sensitized in those areas. And so making notes of that and working towards healing those areas with them, and maybe avoiding my fruit enzyme in these areas that did really become red, to protect those but be able to work the rest of the face and kind of treat the face as like a true puzzle, and not just putting one product across, but putting what it needs in those areas. So I'll put either honey or oil in the places that I don't want an exfoliation, and then the fruit enzyme elsewhere. But yeah, I love still a good mechanical with like a cleansing grain with plant constituents. I love Posey. She's based here out of New Hampshire. She has this beautiful cleansing grain that has full plant constituents in it. And so it's messy. You have to do it over the sink, or I put towels down next to them, but I don't mind that as a practitioner. But to then see like she uses hibiscus, she uses like propolis and some bee pollen in there. So to see the pops of like beautiful bright pinks and the yellows that come out of it as well for that nice exfoliation. It's really fun to see as a therapist, and then if your client takes it home as well. It's a fun.
So
So those
that,
mechanicals I've never gotten rid of. I still really enjoy those for the times that I want to exfoliate.
I mean, and that's similar to dermaplane, where it's like it's based on your pressure, and like
Yeah.
you have so much control over how much exfoliation you're doing in any part of the face. So I love that. And then, even just putting something like that Posy product on, like you said, and, those parts where maybe they're more compromised, you can apply it and not massage it in while you're massaging the rest of the face.
Yeah.
And then with viscous power and the other plant constituents, they're still getting, I always describe it to my clients as like some of those fruit enzymes or plant constituents. They kind of just like come in and just chomp up anything that's really just totally ready to go. And so I love that you're also talking about how you don't need to do everything the same to the whole face, and treating it like that puzzle piece. And different parts need different things. I often do that with my masks, where they're going to be getting, a lot of people have the hormonal breakouts,
Yeah.
and so they're going to get a different kind of mask, and they're going to get over the rest of the face.
This is maybe an odd analogy, but if we think of it like on our body, what areas do you need to exfoliate more? Of course, like a full body is great, but it's like, where does that buildup happen on the body? The elbows, the knees, the heels, right? Those are the areas that need it more. And so if we take that concept and go to the face, we don't have a distinct elbow, knee, heel, but in really looking and analyzing the skin, you can see where the skin might have more buildup, and really being present and aware of what you're doing rather than just a full exfoliation.
Yeah.
Um, and I haven't done this in a number of years, but I used to get into like low grade AHAs and BHAs. Maybe a salicylic I'll still use a little bit in a wash for an acne client or something. But even then, when I was using those, I mean, if I'm thinking way back to school, yes, there was a time that it went whoop over the whole face and everything. But then there came a point where I would put oils and honeys in the areas that needed the protection. I would take out the fruit enzyme and put it on the majority of the face, and then take the AHA, BHA, depending on what the skin needed, and just put it out on those very specific areas. And I think if you're an esthetician, anybody listening out there that is still like holds on to that, the value behind AHA and BHA, because we're all at different levels, maybe considering it, how to use it and apply it differently, and really looking at it as the puzzle piece and where can I put it that's specific to its need versus trying to put everything underneath that umbrella, I think is a great way to just start making your mind think differently under, still giving the exfoliation, but not again, a full covering on everything. Did a question pop up?
Yeah, and I'd like to address that. I was actually really happy to see that. Maderma Beauty, hi. She says, glad to hear your opinion on dermaplane. I'm struggling to determine which services I keep as I narrow my menu and define it in a more as a more non-invasive technique. And I think that for me, and this is totally off this topic in a way, but I think this is a great question. I only offer my facials based on time. So they get a 60, a 90, or 120-minute service. And then what they need is determined at the time of treatment. So they're not going to have a dermaplane add-on or an under eye add-on or anything like that. It's going to be once their skin's in front of me, we're going to choose that. And also, if you dive deeper into dermaplaning, that is like a brand name. Um, that's a one company that,
Oh, true.
and it's actually
Thought of that.
a Japanese technique. I have the name written down and I just can't bring it up to my mind right now. But it's an ancient Japanese technique, and if you dive in and research that, I think you can find a lot of wording around it that is going to make it easier for clients to understand that this is done with a gentle hand.
If you remember it, we'll have to write it in the comments of this after, because I would even be interested in just learning about some of that language and what that initially is called, because you're absolutely right. Excuse me. And I didn't realize that is exactly where, yeah, it's a company. I'm kind of, my thought process here is just going off track, but it's making a few things click. Thank you for saying that, actually.
Yeah, so
I also think when you are narrowing down your menu and stuff, it's constantly evolving too. I'm, so many years in myself, and it's a little bit part of the fun to evolve too, and I think it's good for our clients that we see. I have clients, I've been in this particular area now of New Hampshire with a studio for 9 years. I cannot believe. But over these 9 years now, I have some of my very first clients are still with me today. And so it's fun to change, evolve, even if it's still always rooted in the same values that I've kept and had. But to maybe dabble in something different for a little while, or bring on another line, or just switch it up even in the wording sometimes, or it's just fun for them as well to kind of keep evolving and growing with you. But just also don't be locked into what your menu is. Be okay with that constant change and evolve. And I have decided to land, speaking of, we talked about this a number of lives ago, that initially in my old practice, because I've mentioned I've moved into a resort setting now, and I have just 2 rooms. It's still a small boutique, but I'm in a golf resort. So I went from the no menued practice, really, to which just had times, to having a menu, because I was trying to kind of meet the needs of, the client that is maybe not rehearsed in what this more natural, holistic angle is. And I feel like for now, I've found a nice happy medium. I'm still working on our website and stuff, so it's not updated yet. But what I'm working towards is having at least generalized menu names, and also I'm calling it just the bespoke facial, so that let our expert opinion design this facial for you. It can include a conversation of your goals. We'll blend your goals with our professional recommendations. But what will be different with my menu is that it will start with a full conversation so that we make sure you're in the right facial for you, for your skin today as well. But I'm also okay with this continually evolving as well. And perhaps I will get to a point of going back to the no named menu, because truly at the end of the day, we do know what's best, right?
I
I,
mean,
I mean,
when I go to a professional, that's what I'm looking for. And
yeah,
I think that's most people. And if you're someone that really wants like that much control over your treatment, then we're probably not a good match anyway, and that's okay.
yeah,
And I think as practitioners that we have to remember is you don't have to please everyone. And
hmm
like saying again, like I think our first live was about identifying your core values, and I think just always coming back to that and staying true to yourself, and you're gonna attract the right people. So um like you said, not getting too stuck in the menu, because you're going to evolve, and you know, as you go along, I think you do, like you're saying, you kind of see what people need and what you enjoy offering and all those things.
yeah.
So I also facials bespoke. So it never I love the way it's written, and it never rolls out of my butt in a nice way. So
Uh, um, so to kind of, let's see, what have we got for time here? To bring it a little bit to a close, I think I want to ask, okay, so if you're doing a little more natural, or a lot more natural, we both have said we're not getting into like the big peels and stuff. Um, what is your turnaround? What do you like to recommend? Again, though, I know this is very specific from person to person, but it's always the question, right? How we always have the clients, just to kind of open this conversation, but still keeping it short and sweet. How often should I be exfoliating? Always comes up. And for me, what I like to say to my clients is I'm trying to help push them to lean into their own intuition with their skin. And how is it feeling today? Is it feeling dry? Is it feeling tight? Is it feeling annoyed? Then honor that feeling and don't try to scrub that feeling away, right? That's kind of how I like to say it to them. And instead, what it's asking for, based on what you're feeling, what you're telling me you're feeling with what the description I just gave, is nourish it, soothe it, hydrate it for now, right? And then wait until you feel like, you know what, I do have a little bit of buildup because I'm done cleaning out the gardens and I've been out, taking care of stuff for the fall, and I can feel the buildup on my nose or right at my hairline. And then take care of those spots. So, me personally, instead of saying, yep, you need to get this and you do it 3 times a week, I really try to push them into asking their skin through what they're feeling on how often they should be doing it. Do you still get that question even though you're very deep? Does that question still come up for you?
well, definitely, especially with new clients.
Yeah.
And I feel like having an exfoliant at home is like the gateway drug. So I personally tell all of my clients don't even have one at home, because
Really?
it's
Okay.
emotional to me.
Yeah.
It's like because I totally agree with you, and like being intuitive
Yeah.
and taking a day, it's like a plant. You can't just say, okay, every Tuesday we do
Mhm.
this. Um, but I think that if you wake up and anything seems a little bit off, I think we're so quick to feel like we can fix it by exfoliating.
Oh,
And
interesting. I see what you're saying then by
so,
that gateway drug. I've never heard it said. That's so funny.
right.
Yeah,
So I
because that's the initial thing is just scrub it away. Yes. That's
and
that's a good point.
like you were saying, of nurturing and nourishing
Mhm.
through ups and downs. I think that's a really hard mindset for women to get into. So not even having it at home, I feel like it's safest. And then also what we do in the treatment room for exfoliation is, I don't want to say more powerful, but that's the easiest way to say it.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
strong exfoliations in the treatment room than you're going to really be able to do safely at home. And so if you are exfoliating at home regularly and then you come in and you want one of those stronger exfoliations, I'm probably not going to feel good about it because, again, keeping that skin barrier as healthy as possible is my top priority. And I really think like anything less than every 4 weeks is really pushing the boundaries of what the skin needs. So to me, if you're coming to see me regularly, don't even
You've
worry about it.
taken care of that. You've checked it off the list for
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So instead, a lot of a lot of people unknowingly too are using actives at home, which are exfoliating. They don't even realize it. So if you're using like a retinol or um, a salicylic or anything like that at home, and additionally exfoliating, and then you're coming into me for exfoliation, it's just too much.
Yeah.
So I like to play it safe, and I I don't even exfoliate. I haven't exfoliated in years. I was
I
actually thinking about coming to
haven't
see.
either.
Oh,
Nope.
okay.
Nope, I haven't either. A dermaplane is the closest that I've gotten to an exfoliation in a very long time.
Yeah.
Um, and when I'm like practicing or trading with one of my estheticians, I'll get like so I guess I will get a little bit, but it's mechanical
Yeah.
based. So,
Yes. Very mild.
yep, my
Yeah.
skin has probably never been healthier, if I'm being honest.
Same.
I didn't have the amount of photo sun damage or even my melasma that comes out in the summertime since I've stopped doing the chemical uh, exfoliation. Excuse me, let me back up. Because I don't want to put fear or frighten or say to stop doing this, right? Because there is a time and a place for a fruit enzyme, but I was doing fruit enzymes a lot. And
Gateway
every
drug.
single summer I get it right underneath the eyes, right in between the brows, and this beautiful handle mustache, right? It was like icing on the cake. And I switched lines because they sold and they started to add fragrance and different things that I didn't align with. And I would just didn't find something that I loved. And so at first it was, just by default, by mistake that I stopped using it. And my skin didn't feel like it needed anything. I kind of adhered to my own, suggestion with, I feel fine. I don't feel buildup. I'm feeling good, fresh. And yeah, my hyperpigmentation and the melasma mask did not come through the same. So I'm very pleasantly surprised about that. So yeah, mechanical or a dermaplane at best right now.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing, right?
Yep.
Well, I talk about this for so much longer, but I don't want to hold anyone too long. And I love how we're kind of starting to roll through all the steps in a conventional facial and then give our take on the holistic side. So maybe we'll
Oh,
continue on with that next week.
sounds wonderful. If anybody has anything in particular they'd like us to chit chat about, these casual yet informative conversations. Yes, I'm having a wonderful time doing these. So if anybody has a particular topic, leave it in the comments. But otherwise, have a great week, everyone.
Beautiful. Well, you have a fun day. Enjoy playing hooky, and we'll see.
All right. Bye, everyone.